Hey guys, Tech Agent, we're back with more headphones. Not exactly a vintage this time, more like a throwback. Let's say that, anyways, this headphone is still pretty old, approximately 17 years old, launched back in 1999. So it's a pretty old headphone. This is the Sony MDR-V700DJ. The reason I'm making a video on this headphone is not because of the headphone itself. There's nothing significant about this headphone, but the significance this headphone had on the headphone industry is worth talking about, and that is why I'm making the video on this headphone. Let's talk about companies. Let's talk about the industry itself. If you think about the headphone industry, there are very few companies who had a mark in terms of sales and overall mass production of headphones and selling them to the public. Very few companies make to that list, because most of the time when you talk about the headphone industry, it's a very small industry compared to other industries like textile or what have you. It doesn't matter. Headphone industry comparatively is relatively small. So when a company has a mark in terms of sales, volume and stuff, it's a big thing. It's a big talk in the industry when that happens, and that has happened very few times in the headphone industry, and over last, let's say, half a decade, we haven't seen much of that, to be honest, and I'll come to that. But let's talk about companies. For example, Sony had a mark, Sennheiser had a mark, and very recently, we're just talking sales, volume and stuff, Beats Electronics had a mark. Very few companies were able to get into this this industry and have a mark. And we're just talking, again, no quality, nothing, just a mark in terms of marketing, sales and everything. So when a headphone company makes that, it's big talk. But when a headphone itself, or just a headphone, a product of that company makes a mark, that's even a bigger thing in my opinion. And very few headphones from various companies were able to have a mark in the industry. For example, let's talk about the first headphone. Let's go back in the timeline. Let's talk about the first headphone, the biodynamic DT48. First dynamic, all dynamics are based on it. To this day, everything from the magnetic structure to the diaphragm, structure to the overall piston structure that the driver had of that time. It's still being used today. Same design, same concept, just applied differently. Actually, not even differently, exactly the same. It's being sold today, and that's approximately 88-year-old technology still being used today. Then we talk about another significant headphone, in my opinion, that would be the Sony MDR-V700DJ, one of the most widespread headphones in the world, in terms of broadcasting industries, in terms of the live industries, in terms of the music industry, in terms of the recording industry, in terms of just everything. TV shows, again, that comes in the broadcasting industry. So one of the most common headphones ever is the Sony MDR-V700DJ, and that's all I can think of in terms of headphones making a mark on the industry. Not because of their significance alone. The significance they had on the industry is important in this case, not the quality, nothing. Then we come to DJ headphones, which were very, very scarce back in the 90s. But with this headphone, the V700DJ, which is it is the world's first DJ headphone, launched back in 1999, maybe earlier. I don't have an exact date on it. I was able to get a date from the exact serial number 1 manual. That's it, like January 1999. But again, I think this headphone is quite came back quite early. I think in the mid 90s. I could be wrong, but still, it is the world's first DJ headphone, and it introduced features that are being used today in almost every DJ headphone. So this is the father of all DJ headphones, and I think this is the third headphone, in my opinion, which made a stir, made an impact on the headphone industry. Being a headphone, being a product, not a company, being a product, I think this is the third headphone that comes to mind, in my opinion. The reason I say that, for example, some features that we see in almost all DJ headphones, like folding. You can fold this headphone like this. You see normal DJ headphones. It's a regular feature. No one is amazed by this feature nowadays. This was the first headphone to have that feature. You can also fold them like this. First headphone to have that. You can lay them flat. Guess what? First headphone to have that as well. So all these features that we see nowadays with almost all DJ headphones, came or originate from this headphone, the V700DJ, which is the oldest DJ headphone ever. It was the first DJ headphone, and it has a very significant impact on the industry, I think, and that is why I'm making a video on it. Let's talk about the headphone itself that I have. I modded this, put a removable cable, put HMI pads, white color. I also reupholstered the headband. It was in absolutely horrible condition when I got it. I got it for very cheap, so it didn't matter. I was able to restore them very easily, but the condition was just very bad when I got them. Also, I had been told that the 7505, which I also have, uses the same driver as the V700DJ. In my opinion, that is not true. I don't think they sound anywhere similar. They actually sound pretty different. This sounds more like a 7506, 7505 with these pads. These are the DD48 pads. Sound very similar to the 7506, but not anywhere similar to the V700DJ, I think. Because the V700DJ, although it looks the same and has similar drivers, the damping inside is significantly different. Also, the weights assembled is quite different, so they don't sound anywhere close to each other. But I just wanted to address that because some guy told me that the V7505 used the same drivers as the V700DJ. Overall, what do I think about the V700DJ? It's a pretty cool headphone. It's the oldest DJ headphone, and it has a huge impact on the industry, which is very hard to see nowadays. We don't see headphones making an impact on the industry nowadays. It's a pretty rare thing to happen, and this is one of the few headphones that was able to do, to have that chance of making a difference in the industry. So it's a pretty significant headphone in terms of what it has done to the industry. And just keep in mind that all the features you see nowadays in DJ headphones comes from this headphone. This is the first one to ever have that. So quite impressive in my opinion. One more thing, this headphone is discontinued. It was discontinued like 2012, 2011, I think. From 1999 the production started, all the way up to 2012. Now it's discontinued. It's a fairly rare headphone, I would say, because most people who use this headphone, they toss it around and stuff. They destroy the headphone. Most DJs are careless. They don't really care about the headphone, and that is why although a lot of them were produced, most of them were destroyed because of how rough the use was by DJs and stuff. So it's a fairly rare headphone, but it doesn't make it valuable. Don't pay a lot of money for it because it doesn't sound any good. But it is it's a piece of history in my opinion. I think in a few years something like this will be remembered, and it definitely is a pretty important headphone. Anyway, this is the V700DJ. I hope you guys enjoyed. Take it easy, and like always, have a good one. Alright.